Well, the clock is ticking. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Phillies Hot Stove Media, and today we're going to have our 17th weekly update of the offseason, as we're going to be talking about some Phillies news, some all-around baseball news. And I guess before we get into this video, please subscribe if you have not yet. Please engage the bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. Time is running out, right, for the MLB Players Association and the MLB owners. And after this past week, I mean, the owners are just like, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, come on. It's just like, they're just not making any real proposals to the Players Union. And of course, I'm still upset at both sides, but my frustration is definitely more focused on the owners, right? I mean, for just them just not really being willing to budge at all, right? And they're, willing, I mean, they're definitely built to take some sort of financial hits. If they let the season be affected, then they have to kind of worry about the long term of the game and what that's going to do. It's not just going to be like the fans are going to walk back into the ballpark and be all happy and smiling. They're going to be very upset if they let a major portion of the season be affected. So we have a lot of news to cover this week. It did meet every day for about 5 hours. Anyway, you look at that, that is some progress, right? That is some progress. No matter what Evan, whatever his name is from the Athletic says, that is still some progress. Any way you want to look at it, but there needs to be more progress made, and fast. And they're definitely running out of time, right? The February 28th deadline. Let's first talk about Dede Gregorios, who had a career year last year, but it was the worst year of his career, right? It wasn't the best year, it was the worst year of his career. Treacherous defender, terrible offensive numbers. He doesn't get on base, he doesn't hit for a high average, the home runs were down. I made a discussion, I said, what should the Phillies do with Dede Gregorios? I think if this would have been a normal season, I definitely think they would have, attempted to shop him, but who wants him? Who wants to eat $14 million? So what I see happening is I see him staying. I've already talked about that before. Just wanted to kind of, try to spark a discussion. Let's get right into the first meeting that took place 5 days ago. And both sides met for 5 hours. And MLB raised its pre-arbitration bonus pool from $5 million to $20 million. That's really not that much, right? There are still major gaps. Maybe they're, slightly giving it a little bit of their numbers are still way far apart. They are way far apart. And I'm going to bring up something about Jack Fritz and James Seltzer of Ohio's Pond, right? They made an excellent point. That was one of the beliefs that I always used to say, billionaires versus millionaires, but they made a good point. It's billionaires versus a few millionaires. And that's an excellent point. Of course, not every guy is making in the millions. I think that's very important to bring up, and it's something that I really haven't been bringing up. Of course, every single guy is not making, millions of dollars. So it's billionaires versus just a few millionaires. That's why I'm more on the player's side of this rather than the owner's side, who is not budging one bit. And today would have been the first official day of spring training. Instead, I'm sitting here continuing to make weekly updates. I'm tired of the weekly updates. I want baseball. This is getting tiring, ladies and gentlemen. I would have been recapping my first game of spring training today. Then the next day, after they, raised their pre-arbitration bonus pool money from $5 million to $20 million, they met for 5 hours, and there's still no change with the luxury tax between the MLB and its players. This is something very, very interesting. Major League Baseball still sits at $214 million with tougher penalties than the previous collective bargaining agreement, and the union sits at $245. They're not really making a lot of ground, right? And I blame this more on the owners. And of course, the players want a larger piece of the pie, right? This is not just all about the owners. The players have to get their fair share too. And of course, I'm still upset at both sides, but I'm definitely more, frustrated with the owners, right? For not even attempting. It's just ridiculous. I mean, these Mickey Mouse offers they're giving. And they're just trying to get these people to fold. Also made an announcement this past week that I will be skipping out on the 2022 Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game. That's just because I'm frustrated. I didn't do it in 2021 because I needed a break. Honestly, I'm just frustrated, right? It's only 2 videos out of the year. No one's really going to care. I'm just frustrated. I just don't want to do it. I mean, it's, of course, not really Phillies related. Of course, you're going to probably see Bryson there in the All-Star Game. I mean, he's expressed interest that he wants to do a Home Run Derby since it's in Los Angeles. But honestly, I'm just so disgusted with Major League Baseball that I just don't want to cover it. And then the next day, of course, they met for another 5 hours. and at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. And here are the current gaps between Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association. With the CBT, they're still at $31 million. With the pre-arbitration bonus pool, they're at $95 million. Minimum salary, $135,000. That's where the current gaps are. And I'm not going to, talk about the draft lottery picks because they did make progress on that yesterday. About to close that out. So that's one that you cross off the list. But we'll get to that in a little bit, so I'm not going to mention that. But if a deal is not made, this is big news, right? If a deal is not made by the February 28th deadline, then the games will just be canceled and not made up. So let's say if the season is pushed back 2 weeks, it's probably going to be, like 148 game season, 150 game season. So they're not going to make up the games, which I think is just so foolish. But here we go. This is the owners trying to put the players in the corner. They are trying to put the players in the corner, right? They're trying to get them to cave. And this is another interesting piece coming out of this report. Players will be given prorated salaries. When did we last hear that? 2020, right? 2020, the players were given prorated salaries. So this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to back the players into a corner. To try to get them to cave. We've all seen it before. Guess what? The voters can, they don't really make a whole lot of money in April and early May. They don't, especially up north. Of course, they make a lot of their money in the summer when the kids are off school and the families can go to the games. The good teams make a lot of money in the postseason, which is very, very interesting to bring up. So the players, their paycheck is the same all season. So it doesn't matter. Beginning of the season, middle season, end of season, it doesn't matter. So this is what they're trying to do. This is because, really just not smart there because they delayed the season a month and a half. This is going to really, really hurt baseball. This is going to drive fans away for years to come. I guarantee it. People are not going to have any tolerance for this. They're not going to have any tolerance for this. And that's why I do think possibly they're coming to an agreement on February 28th. I'm 50-50. It's just been dropping. I'm 50-50 right now if they're going to do it. I don't know. Of course, no one knows, but I don't know. My confidence is right here. I'm 50-50 on whether they're going to do it or not. Of course, I had high hopes pretty much off season, but right now I'm at 50-50. I could see it going either way, but this is definitely a leverage move made by the owners, right? Of course, they could withstand it more than the players can. And of course, they're not really looking to the long term of the game, which is why they're not being smart. To let this happen in the first place wasn't very smart. But I think some of the players' ideas are a little radical. I still believe that. But still, I definitely think that the owners are really not the ones who are budging. This is not just all about the owners, right? The players deserve to get their fair share. Juan Soto turned down $350 from the Washington Nationals. Now, if he's going to be getting much more than that in the open market, then why not? Why not take advantage of the market? So I completely understand that. According to the Associated Press, the players would lose $20.5 million each day the season is delayed. So that is just insane. $20.5 million each day the season is delayed. So they're under a lot of pressure, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of pressure. So prorated salaries. Remember, this was a big deal in 2020, as I keep bringing up. Big deal in 2020. Players were very upset with prorated salaries, if you remember. This was 2 days ago, the 10th meeting between both sides. And the owners kept on, coming and going in the meeting privately, then going back and talking with the players. And the players purportedly do not agree to the February 28th deadline for the season. They apparently do not agree with that, which is interesting because that's Major League Baseball's deadline. But as I said, both sides had to agree to it, and it doesn't seem like the union. Of course, there was no official word from the union itself, but reportedly they are not in favor of the February 28th deadline. They are not in favor of it. And the union has also made two minor concessions. They had previously sought to give an extra year of service time to 29 players considered to be victims of service time manipulation over the last 5 years. The MLB Players Association dropped that number to 20 players. It's like Groundhog Day. Every single day there's hardly any progress made. It's just very, very discouraging to watch. But yesterday, which was some good news, the owners and players met for 6 hours, and they are reportedly close to agreeing on the draft lottery order, which is just great, right? That's not really a huge issue, but they are agreeing in one area, which is very, very good. So they're making progress. Now they have 3 more days. They have today, Sunday, Monday to get something done. And I think that I'm going to talk about, Mets talk with Dede. He made a great point. I'll talk about that at the end. But Commissioner Rob Manfred had a private meeting with Union Chief Tony Clark, but not with the players. And it's the first time they talked in person since the lockout started. Tony Clark and Rob Manfred. Isn't that pathetic? I mean, ongoing work stoppage. This is the first time since December 1st that they have talked in person. I mean, that is just ridiculous. I mean, oh my goodness gracious. I mean, that's just pathetic. And the players and the owners really continued, as I said, to leave. They met like a couple of separate times yesterday. They left to take some breaks. They went to go meet privately with each other. A lot was getting done yesterday. I really do believe that. Almost 6 hours. Hard to believe. So the two sides, are meeting currently right now at the time of this video. They met at 12 noon, and there will be, let's say this, is settled by Monday. There will be one final weekly update next week. And that would be the final one if this is settled. But also some sad news for Phillies right-handed pitcher Ranger Suarez, as he is expected to arrive late to Phillies camp if the lockout is resolved by February 28th. He's having some issues getting in. This is not good. I mean, this was a big piece to our starting rotation last year, especially in the latter part of the season. So hopefully he can get in, sooner rather than later. And also, this is no surprise. Major League Baseball officially announced, yesterday evening that they have canceled more spring training games. As of now, the earliest start date possible is March 8th. So that is why I am, of course, next Saturday is March 5th. This is why I'm, going to have one more weekly update if the lockout is resolved by February 28th. So next, Saturday would be the final weekly update of the offseason. I mean, let's pray, right? And hope to God that is the final weekly update of the offseason. Also, just a friendly reminder, you can find Phillies Hats Media on YouTube, MP4 file, video. It's the only place you can find me with video. You can also listen to me on podcast version, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Anchor. So please go check me out on those sites as well. I would definitely appreciate it. And as I just said, the owners and players began their meetings today at 12 noon. So they will meet today, tomorrow, and Monday is the deadline set by Major League Baseball. So a lot of news this week. I mean, the hot stove with the CBA negotiations definitely is hot, but it seems like a lot of the negotiations, the quote negotiations coming from the owners, are Mickey Mouse negotiations. A lot of it is Mickey Mouse negotiating, which is just a very, very sad thing for our sport, that the owners are not willing to, give the players a lot of their fair shares. I'm talking about more of the younger guys. I don't feel bad for Harp, Mike Trout, Mookie Betts. I don't feel bad for those kind of guys. I just don't. And Hayden made a great point. Mets talk with Hayden, and he said, think about the trade deadline. I mean, a team that's kind of in the running for the playoffs a week before, right? They're a good team. But guess what? They have this, this top-level prospect. I was thinking of the Phillies with Spencer Howard, right? I mean, how high they thought of Spencer Howard. They never would have thought they ever would have traded Spencer Howard, right? And, of course, they were kind of down on him at the time he left. But guess what? When it came down to it, I mean, I totally disagree with the decision, but this is besides the point. When it really came down to it, they pulled the trigger because they were under pressure. Think about all the moves that are made by 4 p.m. on July 31st. Think about all the moves that are made. I mean, they have all this time. They come down to the 4 p.m. on July 31st to get all the deals done. So when there's a deadline, things pick up. So think of it almost like this, almost like a trade deadline. Think about it, though. It's very, very interesting. And of course, this is a little different, but it's also not at the same time. So that will do it for this week's Sleepy Update. Hopefully next week will be the final one of the offseason. I really hope so. Video this week, either announcing that the season's going to be delayed, or hopefully this is the video I hope to make. The lockout is resolved. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you have not yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media, link in the description section. Phillies Hat Stove Media, Instagram, check out Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at @PHotStoveMedia. Call or text 267-225-3292. Email me, PhilliesHatStoveMedia@gmail.com. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Luke, and I'll talk to you later. Get this deal done. I'll see you guys.